Hello, it's Fiona Whitten from Oakville Crafts here, and I'm just stopping by today to share with you some stamping and other bits that I have done, and I'm going to do some stamping today as well using the Classic Cloche stamp set. For those of you who have the catalogue, you'll find everything on page 22. So these are some, well, I need to ignore those as well for the time being. These are the 3 cards that I've already popped up on Facebook, and they are very simple, just using the stamps, and I'm simply stamping the main image, and then I've used other parts. So for this bird, for example, I've stamped that, and then these 2 bits here, which is one stamp, stamps the bird, and then this bit stamps the branches. So this is a 2-step stamping set. Those of you who think, oh, I can't do that, don't panic. It's a clear photopolymer stamp set. So I'm going to show you how I did this. And then these other ones are very similar in that I stamped the village, which is that stamp, and then simply stamped the and coloured the inside of the houses and things. And this is basically the same image, and I've just used different things to put that together. If you're not happy doing the 2-step stamping, you could always use, and here's one that I've already made, you can use pencils or Stampin' Up markers. I wouldn't advise you to use any Stampin' blends on this because it's a single layer card, and the Stampin' blends will actually bleed through, and you wouldn't want to see that on the back, and you would end up having to put some extra paper and things here. I'm just double checking that I am live. Yep. So yes, so this one is basically the same card as this, except for the fact that I didn't stamp that part, and I coloured using my watercolour pencils, and then I applied lots of Wink of Stella on it. Don't know if you can see, but there is there's a bit of a sheen to it, like that. So those are basically 3 cards using that same stamp. And then this is the bird, like that. And I'll show you some other ones in a minute, but first of all I'm going to share with you how I actually made this card. So as I said, it's a photopolymer stamp set, so it's clear. So you want to make sure that it's on a block. And I also need, so this funny looking bit here is the birds, it's the body of the birds. So I need a block for that. And then I also need a block for the branch, which is also, so these are all just one stamp, so you just ink it up, stamp it, and that's it, you're done. That's that. And then let's see, sentiment, what we're going to use. So sentiments are warmth, joy, it's the most wonderful time of the year, and the magic of Christmas never ends. So that the magic of Christmas never ends is that bit here. That's the one that I used before. I quite like it's the most wonderful time of the year, so I'm going to use that. So that's that. So those are all the bits that I need for the time being. I'm going to put this on here. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it down. I don't know if you saw me the other day, but I said basically it's easier to put it down and then pick it up. She says, and so you want to put it down so that you can actually see the sentiment. If you've got grid paper, that's great because it means that you can actually make sure that it is straight, and then just pick it up from there, like that. Okay, so I am going to Now I've already die cut a circle. I'm just trying to see if that will fit on there, and it will just. So I've got a piece of basic white that I've die cut, and I've also got a piece, two pieces I should say, of the shimmer paper. I don't know if you can see, but it's actually got a little sheen all the way over it. This is nice to use if you don't want to get the Wink of Stella out. The only problem I come up with is that it's a slightly different colour to the basic white. It's a more creamier colour. So as long as you don't mind it being slightly different, it's fine. Alternatively, if you're stamping on that, then put a second colour behind, and that way that will detract from the difference. So that will fit on there, but you know what, for the start with, I'm just going to get a note card. It might just be easier. So the note cards are really great because they come as a pack, and you get 20 note cards. So they're all cut, they're all scored, and what's more is they also come with an envelope. So there's 20 cards and there's 20 envelopes in a pack. So these are great to use because it's just, you don't have to think about having to cut up card and stuff like that. When you only want to make a simple card, a quick, simple, small card, because they're note cards, so they're not the standard card size. A standard card size would be, for the UK, would be that size. So you can, there you go, you can see the difference. So note card, standard UK. So this front is 10.5 centimetres by just under 15 centimetres, whereas this is, I have to get the label out because I can never remember, 9.2 by 13. So you can see just how much smaller it is. But no, they're really good, and they're great. They're great to use because, as I say, they're pre-made. You don't have to worry about it. So I've got my stamp. No, I haven't decided yet. So I overstamped on that one, and I'm going to do that again this time around. So, but I'm still going to stamp in memento. So you want to make sure that it's got ink all over, and being photopolymer, you can see. And then we're just going to simply stamp the image. I want it in the middle. This is where I should be standing up. Now, do I want the birds that way or that way? I think I'm just going to keep them kind of level. It might turn out that it's not quite the way it is, but... And because these are photopolymer, you want to make sure that you're stamping onto something that is slightly soft, because this doesn't have the same foam backing as the red rubber. So there's my image. I've somehow managed to get a little bit of black on there, but right. Now, my birdies, what colour do I want to make them? So these are actually stamped in crumb cake, but I'm going to be a little bit different. I think I'm going to go for, let's see, I've got all sorts of ink here, so I don't think I'm going to do soft succulent. Oh, I could do. Maybe I will. I know the one thing about stamping is that you can take liberty. You don't have to stick to what you would think would be the norm for a bird. It doesn't really matter. In the same way as when it comes to stamping branches and leaves, you can again go for whatever colour that you like. So I'm going to just ink up this, which is a very wet ink pad. Let's move that out of the way so that we don't end up. Now I've got to see which way. So there is a right way and a wrong way to this. So these outer points are the tails, and Yes, there you go. But you know, oh, no, I don't like that. And there's probably no way to fix that either, so which is a pain. But I'm just going to carry on. And then I'm going to do the branches in crumb cake, I think, and have brown branches. So there's my branch, my crumb cake. Let's put that over there. So again, we want to stamp on it. This is an old style ink pad, and you can tell by the way it actually folds. So the old ones look a lot chunkier than the new ones, and they have these 3 dots here, so that you have to have, there's a different way of opening those if you've got the old style. So again, I'm going to work out which way this needs to go, which is roughly like so. Oh, there you go, that one worked fine. So I've got my birds, I've got my snow, or whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to just use some Wink of Stella, just to add a little bit of a sheen to it. So I'm just going to colour in the snow, and I'll go back in a minute and put a little bit more on. I know it's very much, it really is a case of less is more, but I like Wink of Stella, so I mean you can also do the branches if you want to, pretend there's a bit of snow on the top of them. Let's see there. I'm going to have to try and cover this up. I mean, there's ways and means of doing this. So, sentiment. So, it's the most wonderful time of the year. In fact, actually, I could put the sentiment directly over it. And I'll probably hide that little blemish there. Otherwise, put it up here and then put a rhinestone on top. Actually, you know what? I will do. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the sentiment back up here, and then I'll just add a rhinestone or 2 to that bit. Now, I'm going to stick with black, I think, rather than introducing a 3rd colour. Actually, you've already got 3 if you think about it. You've got, on this one, we've got black, and we've got the soft succulent, and then we've also got the crumb cake. So just keep it simple by putting, whoops, on your minute, make sure that it goes the right way up. Bit of a disaster if it doesn't. So I've got, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Again, make sure you've pushed down. There we go. You kind of want to push down, but also not too much, because sometimes it makes the stamp spread a bit. So I've got a little blemish there. Now, I said I was going to put a rhinestone on it, didn't I? Where have I put them? Bear with me 2 seconds. There they are. So we went out yesterday to Costco and bought another table. So I've actually doubled my craft space that I've got for crafting. The issue is then I've also doubled the space for losing things, so which is not so good. Oops, those are for another project. I've got some rhinestones. I need my take your pick tool. This is a lifesaver when it comes to rhinestones and things and sequins, because you can just use the putty end. Rather than trying to pick them up from underneath, you just simply touch the putty to the rhinestone, slide, and then just bring it off. And then just put it down wherever you want it, which I want mine there. So that's how simple that is. And you know what, I don't mind the fact that I've gone slightly over on that birdie. It's not perfect, it's not, but it's not really bad. So that's just two ways of doing it. And then of course, if I wanted to, I could actually then also just colour using pencils, which is what I'm going to do next. So this card, which I showed you, I used pencils. I'm just going to change it out slightly because I'm going to put this onto a circle. Should fit. Yep, so that will fit. So I'm going to stamp the village this time. Let's see, I need to get a block. So there's the block. Find my village. So when you get the stamp set, it comes in between two acetate sheets, and then once you've started using it, you can then put it onto the back. So this is pre-printed on the back of the this insert for the label, whatever you want to call it. Some people don't like the fact that it's back to front and they can't read the sentiments, but really there's not too many stamps here, so you know from the shape really as to which stamps they are, so it's not so bad. I think if they were all rectangular and looked the same, that would cause a lot of confusion, but to my mind it's actually not so bad. If you do have a problem, let me know. We can print and then turn that around the other way that you can then slot that inside. So we're going to stamp again. This time we're stamping the village. And we're stamping it onto the circle. And it fits really neatly onto this. So this is a circle that I've die cut using the layering circle dies. Okay. Now, because this is on a separate layer, I could, if I wanted to, use Stampin' Blends on this, but I'm just going to stick with my watercolour pencils. Now, you don't need to use them as watercolour pencils. You can, if you want to, just simply use them as pencils. Now, this is the first set of watercolour pencils. So I'm not going to do the sky. I'm simply going to colour each of the houses. I think I'm just going to colour the body. Depending on how hard you press down to colour with the pencil, depends on how dark you will get the actual colouring, and also how the nib is. So I'm just using these as normal pencils. Oh, let's go for a pink house. This is going to be a very colourful village. And the other thing you can do if you want to is you can use the Wink of Stella on this as well to give the houses a bit of a shine. You wouldn't necessarily, I think, want to make the main buildings shiny, but obviously you can do the roofs. That's that. Okay, I think let's do the church brown. What did I do that? I did that one in kind of like a calypso coral colour. So that's what I'm going to do this again. Because it's not quite brown, but it's not. We can add a hint of brown as well. Just to turn that calypso down. But you could, as I said, use the Wink of Stella and just blend those colours together like so, and then again on here. Or you could use an aqua painter, or what else have we got? All sorts of tools that you can use to do this. Anything I would say when if you're going to use your Wink of Stella is that you want to make sure that you kind of wipe off, so that you don't transfer colour from one building to the next. That might be a bit of a disaster. So I've used Bermuda Bay, I've used, I think it's Early Espresso, I've used Calypso Coral, I've used Melon Mambo. Let's see, let's go for a green. Green? No, let's go for orange. This should be pumpkin pie, whoops. Yep. So again, we're going to do the body. I'm going to pretend that that's a bit of an annex to that, so I'm going to do that in the same colour. Use my Wink of Stella just to move the colour around a bit, like that. Clean that off. Oops, I know what I forgot to do is I forgot to do the tower on the church. I think I might need to sharpen this pencil. Two together slightly like that, and then of course you can go totally mad then with the make that into snow, and then there we go. I mean, if you want, you could also colour the trees. I'm just going to quickly do this building here, just realised it missed him. So there's my little village, which I've coloured using the watercolour pencils, but as I said, I've not actually used any watercolour on them. We could just go over the trees roughly, just to give them a bit of, look like trees rather than black sticks. You don't need to, I quite like it not being too accurate, because obviously trees at the end of the day, they're all this winter time, they're all a bit spindly and everything, so you don't need to be to the point where it's so precise. Let's just get some colour on there. There we go. So that is that one, using the watercolour pencils. So that one I would add to a note card, but we want to stamp a sentiment before we did that. So let's fold this up. So he would go on here like that, like so. And then, of course, we can add some rhinestones too. I'm going to use the same sentiment. Now, I could leave it like that, or I could be very brave. These stamps, because the photopolymer, they have a bit of give in them, so you could actually curve it if you wanted to be a little bit different. I wouldn't suggest trying to make it into a complete round. That's not going to happen. But if you look at that now, see that end might want to go up slightly. Like that. Then Again, I'm going to stamp it in black and make sure I don't have any on my fingers. Push that down, make sure it's well and truly down. Now, where am I going to put this? Let's see. Down a bit, I don't want it too far up at the top. I want the circle in the middle, so I'm just going to stamp that there. So rather than having it straight like that card, it's got a little bit of a curvature to it, and then you can put this on. So yes, it's not going to match this completely, but you get the general idea. I think if you were trying to match this completely, it would just constantly ping off. So be gentle with it. Now we could put this onto a different colour too. Let's see, do I have one already die cut out? And I don't. So for example, if this was a slightly larger, you see, it still wouldn't quite work. But I'm just going to leave it at this. And rather than leaving it flat, I am going to put it up on some dimensionals just to give it a little bit of added interest. So I hope you're all bearing with me on this. So the stamp set comes, you have the option to obviously just get the stamp set by itself, or you can add the dies to it. And I will share those with you in a second. And the bundle is I want to say $42.75 thereabouts. So it's just under the £45 mark to get a free item. So put on a pack of dimensionals or a pack of note cards, and you'll definitely be there, and then you'll be able to choose a free item from Celebration. So there's that village, and these are the other villages. So this one I didn't blend the colours, so you can still see the lines and things, but this one obviously I have. And then these are just simple. I've used the stamps, so I've over stamped like I did with the birds, but obviously with the appropriate stamp. And I do have one other to share with you. So this is one that I made the other day, and I've used my Stampin' Blends on this one. So it's a slight, so it's, I want to say it's not quite as large as that. It's bigger than the one that we've used. So I stamped on there, and it is on basic white. So I used Memento, and then I used the lighter of the Balmy Blue Stampin' Blends, and I coloured the background. But I only coloured half of it because obviously I wanted the rest to look like snow. So I coloured that. Then I stamped the insides of the houses with some soft succulent. I used a crumb cake Stampin' Blend for the trees. Again, just the light colour. So I used that one for the trees. And for both of these bits, I used the brush end. So this has only got, the trees have only got like one over brush. So I used that thick end. Whereas the sky, you can see, so I started with the original just once, and then I did it twice. And in some places I coloured it 3 times just to get the different shades. I didn't want to go for the darker colour because that was just too dark for my liking. And then I just used some Wink of Stella all over. And then the paper here is the Tidings of Christmas paper, and I just simply stamped the sentiment onto that and die cut it out again with the circle. So this circle is the same size as that one. So we have the 3 circles. So that's something else, and it's nice if you pop it up on a different colour, something that's from the main image, just to enhance it a bit. So there was that one. And then I went a little bit mad and I used some of the dies to create a shaker card. So again, this is exactly the same image again. So it's the village, like I did here, coloured in exactly the same way. So it's the light balmy blue, the crumb cake, over stamping using the soft succulent, lots of wink of Stella, and then I stamped the cloche image as well. So that is actually stuck underneath this top piece. This top piece is just a plain piece of basic white, which I die cut using the Cloche Dies. So this is where the dies come into play. So this is the die for the cloche. There's a couple of tricks to this. First off, you want to make sure that when you stamp the main body, this little piece at the top, the knob bit at the top, is a separate stamp. So you could just not do it, but the die does cut it out. But if you decide to stamp it, you can do it one of two ways. If you're not too happy about trying to get it dead center, which it does need to be, you could, after you've actually thinking about it on this particular bit, it doesn't matter so much. There is a bit of leeway. So you want to stamp it dead center. It's if you were going to stamp and die cut out the whole image that you need to be careful where you put this particular. Obviously you don't want it halfway down the blooming the size or anything, because that might look a bit daft. So the actual plastic pieces that come, so they come as a pack of, I'm going to say 10. So these are the cloche shaker domes. So they're quite thick. So making a card with this, it's definitely not going to be a standard size when it comes to posting. I think you would probably even want to make it so a box envelope type thing. Otherwise this could potentially get crushed in the mail. And then I added some shimmer sequins. So this is a pot of sequins that I've got, again, from the catalogue. So I'll just show you. Oops. Excuse me, I'm just moving things and knocking everything around. So this is the stamp set, and as I said, so you get the stamp set, or you can do it as a bundle with the dies, which is then $42.25. So it's just less than the $45 you need for the free stamp set. And then the sequins are, let's see, they are here. So they're called subtle simmer sequins. By the time you've had a pack of those on, that will take you over the $45. Or if you want to add the shaker domes, they're £7 for 10. So they're very cute. I do like those. I will be making some more of those. And then the other thing is that although the dies, there are only a couple of dies that actually cut out the images. So we have this one that will cut out the birds, so you would want to stamp and then cut that out. This one, as I said, cuts out either the plain shape so that you can put the shaker in, or you can just use it to cutting out like the bell shape for the cloche. And this piece cuts out the village. I'll show you just so you can see. So you could stamp the village, cut it out, and then start creating your own image with it, like so. Obviously I'm not going to cut that one out. So those are the three that cut out images from the stamp set. The rest of them, the rest of the bits. So to create the shelf here, I used this rectangle and then I used this piece. So and the idea is you could cut it out in the same colour, but it's quite nice to have them in different colours. So it's like, and they come out like this. So that's that one, and then this is just like the little strip, and then you would just glue this to that over the top, and then to whatever you were doing. So the idea here is I've got a cloche sitting on, it could be a shelf or whatever, it's just a nice piece to finish it off. You've also got these trees, and there are 3 sets of trees, different sizes. Talk about that one. So this cuts out, she knows more than that because on this one you've got 2 different sizes. So it cuts out these trees all in one go. Oh, actually no, I was wrong. There is one other, which was hiding in the pile of trees that I've got here. So it's got some trees still in it. So there are 4 dies for trees, and they're all different sizes. So this is the larger one. I want to say, I don't know, I've got them all muddled up here now. That's not that one. One of these, it's going to be that. Maybe that's the one. Nope. It's got to be one. Oh no, it's going to come out like that. So yeah, so that's that one, and I think that's the same. Those 2 are the same. And if you notice, they've got these little cuts in them, so you can pop them out, and that way when you put them on your card you will see colour underneath. It just adds a little bit more texture. I'm going to use my take your pick tool to do it and just poke it out from the reverse side just slightly, so you don't necessarily want to poke them all out. There's some that you can't because it's just like a cut. So you've got those, and then you can create with these obviously your own forest. So you can add it to your image, or you can just simply just create your own little scenes with your trees. There is a piece, this piece, funny looking piece, actually cuts out 2 branches. So you can pop your birds on those. So you can have them coming one either side, looking through a scene. Let's see, I don't know if this would work. You probably would need to change the perspective a bit, so. Or maybe we just want to use them by themselves. And as I said, there's the 2 birds, and then there's these 2 weird shapes. So one looks like this, and the other one just looks like a bit of a hump, which I guess it is. And these can be used to obviously then create another part of your scene. So you can have one piece going over the other. It's backgrounds and foregrounds. Add your trees. So I'm going to have a tree on here. You just need to be careful. And then obviously further back you would have smaller ones, and then create again your own scene. These also fit, this one in particular fits onto here, like so. So you could just add bits just to give it more dimension, which would be cute, especially if you were cutting out with the with that die. So there's lots of things that you can do with the dies. I've cut all these out. I will be sitting and playing, but I realise that I'm kind of running out of time. So let's have a quick play. I'm going to use a note card because it's already cut and made and I don't have to worry about it. But what I am going to do though is I am going to turn it so that it is landscape rather than portrait. So I have my little scene here, and I actually think that I might want to put those on with dimensionals first. Now I know I had them. There they are. I still managed to lose things really quickly. As I said, now I've got double the area, so double the space to lose things. So, and I want to leave space down the bottom for a sentiment. So I'm going to put that one on there, like that. And then I'm going to have that one, and I could have it going behind or in front. Well, I think I might be going slightly in front. So again, I'm going to put a dimensional on that, which is going to be interesting, and I'm going to have to cut a little bit to go on there. Looking for my scissors. I'm just going to cut a piece off this, and that will work. I know we have foam strips, but I would still have to cut that up as well, so having this to hand actually just makes it quicker. Oops, like that. So I'm just going to have it overlapping slightly, like so. Right, now the trees. So I want one in front, I think, which I'm going to use dimensionals on. I don't need to go too mad with these. And you just need to remember when you're putting it on, if you're putting it over something, you want to make sure that there's actually a gap. And there's no point in me putting a dimension in the middle there and then trying to put it on over this, because it's not going to work. So you need to leave a gap to make sure that that will then fit on. Let's see, I've got a smaller one which I'm going to put in here, but this one I'm going to glue on. So by using a mixture of glue and dimensionals, I can create a scene. Oops, that's not what's supposed to have happened. Let's take that off, put that on there. Now I will need a dimensional at the top, because I want to glue the bottom to the actual slope piece. Let's put that on. So I'm going to tuck that bit under there, like that. And then you carry on building up your scene using different sized trees. Obviously we'd have some little ones along the top, I think, like that. And then you've got space here to put your sentiment. Let's quickly finish it, and then you can add some Winker Stella if you want to. Put them on the edges of the trees. Now this one I'm going to have the top resting, so oops. So how many trees have I got here in total? He needs one in the towards the top. Actually, I'm going to use that other piece, long piece that I cut, which I've put somewhere, but So I hope you're enjoying this. It's certainly fun to play around with it and create your own scenes for this. It's a lot of fun. I want that at the top, not the bottom. You just have to think sometimes as to where you're going to put things before you start sticking. So it's always like, now this one hasn't gone down properly, and I realise now that's because there was a dimensional kind of sitting on top of that, so that's okay, like that. So I've got 4. If I stick another one on here, 5. Don't really want more than, I like to keep mine as odd. So I've got 5 trees. I could go completely nuts and put another one here and have 4 on this side, like so. And obviously it's not glued down, but let's see, another little one here can go under here. Actually, no, I think I might do another one that size. So I'll put him, I'm just tucking him in at the moment so that I can play and see what it looks like. So there we go. So that's how my finished trees would be. And then I'd say I would put some wink of Stella on them. You can fold up edges and all sorts of things. Put a sentiment here, and you're done. It's really simple. And then similarly you could do things, so you could have this going over so that it looks like you're looking at them, and put a bird on it. Whoops, that's the same one. I want the other one, like that. So as if you're looking through the trees at the trees. You get the gist. So yeah, so I'll finish that off and share with you later, and I hope you've enjoyed that. So don't forget, celebrations on at the moment. There's a really good joining deal, so if you are looking to join the Stampin' Up family, love for you to be part of the Acorns. And this month and next, while celebrations on, you get to choose, well, you get to choose your usual £130 worth for £99, and P&P is free, but you also get to choose from a selection of bundles as well. So that is a complete bargain, and I do have, she says, a list somewhere of the options, but I just kind of misplaced it again. Oh, heck. What am I like? There we go. I knew I had it. So these are the bundles that you could get for free. You get to pick one of these. So sadly, the one that I've been using today is not part of it, but obviously that could go towards your either your £45 spend or your starter kit, and then you still get to choose something from one of these. Okay, so anyway, that's what I have to share today. So there's celebration, so you can either spend 45, get a free item, you can join, in which case you can choose a free bundle. I'm still, if you're interested in Card and a Cuppa for September, that closes on very soon, so you need to get, I think it's the 21st, but don't quote me on that. And also, if you're interested in doing the Christmas stamper stack in September, that does close soon. So don't forget that. And otherwise, I will see you next Wednesday for another Stamp and Share. Okay, take care. Bye.